The US Defense Department has released footage that it says shows a Russian aircraft intercepting a US spy drone over the Black Sea. That happened on Tuesday. Now, according to US authorities, this video shows a Russian Su-27 fighter jet approaching the drone and dumping fuel over it as the aircraft passes closely by, without appearing to cause any damage to the US drone. But Washington says the jet collided with the drone's propeller on a second pass. That's also shown, although the actual collision isn't visible in the edited video that's been released. Now, damage to the propeller can be seen later on. And for more, we can speak to military analyst Marina Miron, who's with the War Studies Department at King's College London. She's joining us now from Munich. Welcome, Marina. Can we talk about what this footage, obviously an edited version, actually shows? How would you describe the behavior of the Russian fighter jet?
Thank you for having me. Well, if we look at the footage, we see that the Russian flanker passes the drone very closely from above, so it's speeding up to the drone and passes it. So the behavior is obviously indicating that they're trying to intercept the drone, perhaps to clip it, or at the very least, the kinetic power of the fighter jet would create a vortex. So probably when the first plane flew over and didn't create the desired effect, the second one repeated the whole scenario.
And what happened was that the drone ended up with a damaged propeller. Now, was this damage really serious enough to force the drone down into the sea?
Well, that's a good question, because apparently it wasn't just the propeller. The drone became uncontrollable. If it was caught in a vortex, then yes, it would be very difficult to control the drone regardless of the propeller. And there is also another possibility of Russia using electronic warfare systems in order to jam the controls of the drone. So there can be several reasons for why the drone wasn't operable anymore and had to be brought down.
OK. Now, given that we've got this evidence now, what might the likely consequences be?
Well, the problem is that we have seen something like this already in 2019 when Iranian air defenses shot down a US Global Hawk. That is much more serious, because in this incident, the Russians actually didn't use any weapons, and I think that was by design. They had to somehow bring the drone down without actually using any kinetic force, meaning that it couldn't be considered as an act of war. And if we remember, in 2019, President Donald Trump had several options on how to respond, and there was no severe response. The relationship between the US and Iran was not very good at that time, and it remains that way. However, no consequences have followed, apart from kind of diplomatic channels functioning, and more than that, now we have the Russian MOD saying that they didn't do anything, and it's very difficult to prove the intention. Was the Russian state behind it, or were these reckless pilots that decided to act on their own? So the response options to this are very limited, pretty much to the diplomatic sphere.
OK. Now, Russia is saying that it will raise the US drone from the seabed if required for security reasons. Are they likely to do that? And why would they do that?
Well, for Russia, it is obviously very interesting to recover that drone, because they would be able to reverse engineer it. They will see what intelligence gathering equipment the drone had. This is perhaps the reason why they wanted to make sure that the drone goes down in one piece and as undamaged as possible. And the security implications of that, even if the Pentagon erases all the footage, whatever intelligence has been gathered by the drone, and the can reverse engineer the sensors. They can potentially share those technologies with the likes of Iran and China. So there is a potential security implication to this whole debacle with a drone.
All right, we'll have to leave it there. But thanks so much for that. Marion Miron from King's College London. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.